Uh, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very thankful to be with you this Friday afternoon. A great way to end the work week, and I want to talk to you today about your career and your life, successes, challenges, and adversity. And these are the three critical aspects of anyone's life that I believe. Um, as Cindy mentioned. I've been blessed to have a 35-year state government career. I worked with the state of Nebraska, did a lot of senior management, financial roles, internal controls. Um, and I was audit manager for several years, so I wore several different hats throughout that career, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that shortly here. Um, but I do want to share some strategies that resulted from that, and get into that. But today, uh, I'm going to highlight here in the next 30 seconds what I want to cover with you today. First of all, I want to ask you what I think are the two most critical questions of anyone's life. And I want you to think deeply about those. Don't have to share. I know you're in a conference room together, but I want you to think deeply about those. And then I want to get into some steps that I feel people miss when they're dealing, working, or living with people that I think is so critical. I want to highlight the top my top 12 time wasters and talk about those and the impact that it has on our lives. Um, for you sports fans, I have a great sports quote that I want to share that I think will resonate and hit a home run. I want to talk about steps to overcome challenges and adversity. I'm happy to talk about 6 words that changed my life. Um, Dramatically, and I want to talk about that for a little bit. I want to examine your mindset. And then finally, I want to leave you with 8 critical steps for a better future. So that's like a buffet of great stuff. And I'm excited to get it to this. So let's just dive right into it. Okay, so gang, I want you to think deeply here for a moment with me. So where are you with your career? Where are you with your career? Are you in a good spot? Are you moving forward? Are things advancing how you want them? Um, Hopefully, it's not the flip side where your career is declining. Maybe you're having doubts. Maybe you're thinking of some kind of a career move that, for whatever reason, but just take a few more seconds and think honestly to yourself, where are you with your career? Some deep thinking today. And we'll come back to that question, but I hopefully you've formulated some good thoughts on where you are with your career. And then the second question, very similar, is where are you with your life? Where are you with your life today? Is it going in a good direction? Are you happy with things? Is it moving in the direction you want? Hopefully, it's not the flip side where you're in chaos, going through some struggles that can be life changing. But be honest with yourself. Where are you with your life? My belief is that that's probably the most important question anyone can ask of you. So uh, we always like to spend a little time talking about that. Okay, so we'll let you digest those 2 questions and again, hold on to those thoughts. But talking about your career, I want to share with you some perceptions, some value tips, and talk about prioritization that will enhance your career. And these are some of the steps that I wish someone had. I wish I would have learned firsthand many decades ago, rather than going through life and perhaps learning some things the hard way. And so I want to share with you some of these things. And I've had a number of groups, whether they be professional groups, ask for these kind of advice and tips. Um, and we'll go through some of these together. But my first thought is all of you have seen charts very similar to this. This is a summary of the working generations um, that go through time, and the perception that each generation has, and how they view the world. And I bring this up because I've seen firsthand many managers make the mistake of not recognizing the generations and their habits. And that really costs them dearly in their efforts and building their teams. But I just want to talk a little bit about this. But you can see I've highlighted a couple of them here in yellow. The percentages of the workforce. You can see how the older folks and the baby boomers, which include me, are starting to phase out. Here come the new generations and so forth. And if you look right below those, the aspirations, the baby boomers, they were big on job security, um, where Generation Y, for example, is more on freedom and flexibility. Um, the signature product line. The old timers, we came across automobiles and TVs, but today it's going beyond smartphones and tablets and more into high tech, chat GPT and all those kind of good things. And then the final one there, communication media. Um, you know, uh, the pre 1945, they liked the letters. Baby boomers like telephones, and so forth as we move forward to handheld devices. And so my point here is I've seen managers ask employees that are near retirement to go through like a very complicated Excel spreadsheet, and that's just not in their nature. They don't have that experience. Um, but the managers I've seen over and over again, they don't relate the generation workforce to their teams. And I've held this poster up in my office for a lot of years, just as that reminder, to be very cautious about who I'm who I'm communicating with, and importantly, how I communicate it. So I implore you to consider whether you're managing a team, working with a team, um, or just soloing an effort. When you're dealing with people, do keep this mindset in place. Um, I can't stress enough how benefit that's been for me, particularly in the latter part of my career. And as I mentioned, as we move forward, Generation Z is coming in. By all estimates, it'll make up 27% of the workforce starting next year. And you can see some of the attributes there. They value flexibility, mental health, uh, diverse inclusion and diversity, and also growth opportunities. Um, and and they are very high tech, very skilled in that area, and we should take advantage of that and look at that as a positive. So the last thing about jobs and people is, of course, why do people leave jobs? decades ago it was, hey, if I can find a company to work for, I can stay there for my entire life. Um, that's not the case anymore. As we now know, people do leave jobs frequently, and they leave because of bad bosses or management who don't appreciate their value. And that's another fault that I've seen several managers make over my time, when they don't show value or appreciation. Um, no longer do people leave so much for work responsibilities or because of pay or even work hours. They leave primarily because of management and leadership, and issues with those. And I'll confess, in my 35-year career with the state of Nebraska, I bumped state agencies 5 different times, and each time was for this reason, was for the upper management or the new boss. I can specifically think of one that had some ethical issues. I can think of one that came in and thought they would just gut the whole team, and I thought that was a disaster, and it was time for me to look elsewhere. Um, so these are important things to keep in mind as we move forward as far as jobs in the future. I love this slide, and I want to spend a little time with you on this. This is my top 12 biggest time wasters. These are 12 items that I think can be detrimental to your career. It can drive you off track and also bring a lack of focus as well. But let's go through these. The first one is the lack of priorities. Uh, don't get involved in cases that aren't important to you. Um, don't go looking for items that don't need to be dealt with. The second one, waiting for inspiration. Um, a lot of us, especially early in the career, we like to sit back and watch and take it all in. But sometimes we need to be more aggressive and get at it, and get involved. The third one is doing everything by yourself. That was one that probably hampered me early in my career. I wanted to take on things by myself, but as you can see, it just causes fatigue, causes you to rush. You probably will do things that you might regret in steps that you take, and so that's a downfall as well. And on the right side, we'll go down that list. Here's a big popular one. We all worry about what people will say. What will they think about us, or what's going through their mind, um, instead of focusing on what is good for the task at hand. The next one is not living your life, and that's very important. If you're doing and living things for other people, that tends to make us unhappy. So listen to your heart and follow your own path. And sometimes we just need to learn to say no, um, when we go through life events as we know it. The next one is fear. Fear is a very common one, especially if we're a fear of, are we going to fail? How will that look to other people? What would be my reputation, or ramifications of failure? And we'll talk about that. And I have a great sports quote that will really tie into this that's coming up. Another big time waster is complaining. We all have seen people where, unfortunately, they're very good at complaining. Nayers, uh, they don't really give good advice or suggestions. It's more of nagging or vetoing, and that's a big time waster. Um, doing is far better than complaining. Another big time waster is unfinished tasks. If we get overwhelmed with unfinished tasks, we get it zaps all of our energy, and we have to decide, okay, of these tasks, which ones should we take, and when we do we make the wrong decisions? Um, People with this area will tend to either execute or simply give up, and that's a concern. The next one, trying to please everybody. And wow, I'm going to confess I'm guilty of that. I I've I'm much better today than I was years ago, but yes, we all want to try to. Whoops, we all want to try to please everybody, um, and that's very important. But uh, understand that that's not practical, especially in today's fast-paced work environment. Uh, it can really absorb our time and effort as we move forward with our careers or life. Another big time waster is comparing yourself to others. You might see someone with success and, hey, that's what I want, or hey, that's a job position that I want. Um, and sometimes we reach and struggle. People are higher up on the bar than perhaps we're at that point, and that can leave us bitter, jealous, and insecure. Another big time waster. Uh, and then the next one, repeating the same mistakes. Sometimes we have to be hit over the head, learn things the hard way.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes we don't learn from mistakes that we should, and we'll talk about that as well. And last but not least, being perfect, and that's a big one that I've seen um, be a big problem for a lot of people. Striving for perfection, at some point with several things, you just have to say, uh, don't let don't let perfection stand in the way of good. There's a lot that we can do with our careers in life, uh, and we'll talk a little bit more about being perfect here in just a few more slides. So hopefully this, we spent a little time on this slide, but I think it's important. These are all time wasters that if we give some attention to, um, it will enhance not only our careers, but our life as well. And so, here my question to you is, rather than maybe taking all these on in total, is there maybe two or three that you could focus in on that you might want to give some attention to help you with your career?
Mhm.
So, I'll talk a little bit about your focus and moving forward. I always get a little kick out of this slide I like to show. Here, these prices might not be current in today's environment, but you get the idea. If you eat Big Macs every day for a long period of time, yeah, each one may cost you $3.99 or whatever the market value is, but in time, it probably will cost you some kind of health problems. The same philosophy with Netflix, whether it be 18 bucks a month or whatever it is today, it does cost you your time if you spend. We all know some people like to just watch movies all the time or TV shows, but the value of your time comes into play. Same philosophy with social media. You know, there's a lot of platforms out there today. Many of them it really isn't free when you look at it, because it can cost you not only your valuable time, but also your focus. It can take you away from your objectives. Uh, it can be a downfall towards your career. And I've seen several people where this has even impacted dramatically their family life as well. So some things to consider there. These are all things that we all tend to participate in. Um, but if it's too extreme, there is hidden costs involved. So share some tips on your career. I've had a lot of working groups say, "Hey, you know what? We love to have you share your thoughts," and so I'm going to summarize these here for you. Um, and we'll go through these. The first one is, measure your own success. And again, what does that mean for you, and not necessarily for others, but what is success to you? Don't be afraid to ask for help, especially those that can give guidance, or even mentor you in your career. Uh, I think that's a very important thing, and you don't have to necessarily ask for help per se, but just say, "Hey, I've got an idea. Tell me what you think," and that can go a long way with a coworker. And then always acknowledge those people that do help you. Be show your gratitude towards them, and make them feel well appreciated for spending some of their time and talents with you. I think that's very important as well. A big one is, hey, stay positive. There are setbacks in life, and we'll talk about those, but know that they're coming, and don't let something get you down in the dumps, that you lose your positivity, whether it be towards your career, whether it be towards your life, your health, your finances, or anything like that. Important one here: develop good communication skills. Effective communication skills is very essential for building relationships. Well, not only with your career, but also those in your life, your family, your friends, and neighbors. Be adaptable. Things do change, especially in today's fast-paced work environment. It's never ending changing, and it's going to continue that way, especially with new technologies that are coming at us. Uh, don't be afraid to take some calculated risks. I've seen this be a problem for some people to tackle. There's new opportunities out there that sometimes we do need to take risks. They don't necessarily have to be extreme risks, um, but uh, but I've seen a lot of people sit back and not want to dip their toes in the water. That's unfortunate, because you could then share your time and talents with others, and it can be a good stepping stone towards building your career, by showing you're able to take some risks. And be proactive, and seek out new opportunities to learn and grow your career. I always like to say that this is a great point to bring out AGA and how it can enhance your career. I would invite you to look at AGA's website, agacgfm.org. There's all kinds of tools and opportunities out there. And if those that are members, you can even drill in more on the website. And then there's also things like publications, and ways to be involved in your career. Um, you know, uh, be big on reading. I wish I would have done more of that early in my career. But do take out those advantages. And with technology as it is, there's so much on the web. Um, you know, maybe skip a movie here and there and spend some time doing some research, some well thought out ideas. And stay organized. I mean, that's easier said than done, especially when we're doing more with less, and all new technologies coming at us. Um, but if we tend to stay organized, we're able to stay on top of deadlines and manage our workload much more effectively. Okay, so we talked about career. Now we can get into your life, and I love talking about this. I want to talk about successes, talk about challenges, and more importantly, talk about adversity and how we deal with that. Um, I since I retired, I've started, as Cindy mentioned, I started Baker Consulting and public speaking, and I'm speaking to a lot of groups, faith groups. I'm talking to some groups that are in hospice and so forth, and so I think a lot of this will tie in also to how you are today. But just want to highlight again, success. It's the accomplishment or aim of a purpose. Success is subjective and it varies from person to person. It can be achieved in all aspects of life, including careers, relationships, and personal development. So it is, we all love success. Bring it on. We're hungry for success. But as we all know, there are setbacks in life, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But with success, understand that sometimes it's long term. Sometimes it's a journey. It's not necessarily a sprint. Uh, some successes could be very short term, but many lasting successes in your life will be more long term, a journey, and sometimes dealing with goals. So be patient and be mindful of that. Uh, Talk about the definition of challenges. I just want to make sure we're clear on this. Uh, Challenges are obstacles or difficulties that arrive during the pursuit of success. Um, they can be all kinds of various aspects of life. It can involve education, work, relationships, personal goals, and overcoming challenges often lead to personal growth and the development of new skills. So there is a good learning curve when we handle challenges. When we do that, don't ignore them. Well, I always tell people, uh, learn from them, and move forward. With challenges, again, setbacks happen sometimes, and they're unexpected. And sometimes they could be very unexpected. Consider them roadblocks. There are obstacles involved that we need to deal with, and we'll talk about that here in the next few slides. And then important one here is adversity and how we deal with that. And it's the unfavorable circumstances that we encounter in life. Um, some things with adversity we know are coming, and some things hit us over the head completely unexpected. It can be different ways of dealing with adversity, such as financial setbacks, rejection, workplace conflicts, personal loss. Um, it also represents opportunity for growth and development, just like challenges. When we have adversity and we come through that, it can increase our confidence. and give us a greater sense of purpose of life. So there's, and again, the key here is how are we going to handle this, whether it be in our careers or in our life, makes a big difference. So with adversity, adversity is not always negative. Many times it is, but not always. Um, and again, I would stress coming through those, you would have opportunities for learning experience that we should consider as we move forward in the future. Okay, sports fans, here we go. I promised this to you, so here's a quote from Michael Jordan, and I want to share this with you. Michael Jordan, he spoke and said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I was trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed.
Mhm.
Amen. How well said is that? I mean, that puts things in perspective. So often people will ask me, well, why is there suffering in life, or why is there missteps in life? And it can really be summed up as maybe a learning curve, and how we overcome that to achieve what is successful. Yes, he's had a lot of failures, but look what he made of himself in the basketball world. Um, so very, I love that quote. I always have that hanging up on my wall, and I think about that each time I look at that. And so hopefully that resonates with you as well, that hey, everything's not perfect. Everything's not thrown at us with wine and roses. So we need to be careful with how we treat failure as well. Okay, so with challenges, we'll talk about some tips with that. I always like to tell people, first of all, have a career path. Understand the the direction that your career is going. Um, it will help you stay focused and motivated, um, rather than just living day by day on the fly. Gather information. Again, this is where AGA and all of its products can help out, as well as the websites, and doing your own research. But stay in the industry itself, and absorb all you can. You'll be better off for it, and it will dramatically help you out. Adapt to change is another big one. As we talk, change is an opportunity for both growth and development. Build a support network. Uh, be mindful of those that are thinking in the same position that you are, and can help you and guide you with your career, provide encouragement and support. It's very important. We talked about taking some calculated risks, again, whether they be big or small, but do take some risks. I think back on my career. I wish I'd have done. I did my fair share of these, but I wish I'd have done more. I think it would have helped me advance sooner in my career had I done so. And so I would offer that advice to you as well. Um, rel- uh, Being resilient, the ability to bounce back from setbacks. As we talk, they're going to happen. Be expecting them. They can't be avoided. Um, and so be mindful and ready for setbacks, and how you might deal with some. A big one here, learn from failures. A lot of us tend to, when we have a failure in our life or a career, it's we almost put on sunglasses, and I'm not going to go down that path anymore. But be thinking, why didn't that work, or why did that fail? And do I need to try another approach? Do I need to think of a different idea or a different method? But don't just brush off failures. Do try to learn from them. Setting realistic goals. Um, Sometimes it's better to have short or midterm goals rather than those those life-changing goals that we all strive to. Um, if we set the bar too high, I see many people get discouraged and give up, and I think that's so sad. But have your realistic goals and what you want to achieve, and then finally, seek any feedback uh, from colleagues or co-workers or supervisors. Um, getting their advice, it can be very helpful. Practice self-care. In today's world, I bring this up because mental health is a big issue, and we need to be mindful of that. But as we move forward, take care of your physical and mental well-being. Um, Very, very important. Here's a quote I like to share with everybody. That again, this is another one I've hung on my wall for many times. I love this one. It is your reaction to adversity, not adversity itself, that determines how your life story will develop. Um, Very, very, very well worded. And again, it all goes back to how we react to adversity. Okay, here you're probably wondering, okay, there's a nice picture uh, of a counseling office. What is Tim up to here? Uh, so I want to take you back in time, gang. I'm going to take you back to 1976. Mindful that many of you may not even have been born then. But hang with me here. 1976. Again, this is the era. There's no computers, no internet, no none of that kind of stuff. 1976. That was the year I was a senior in high school, and it was time to think about, okay, what am I going to do after high school? And I wanted to go to college. And in my family at that time, no one had ever gone to college for a variety of reasons, but I seem to have been the chosen one back then. And so what I did is, again, 1976, I went to like 6 or 7 different colleges and made, I actually went to them. I visited their campus. I learned what they could offer, and shared my interest in what attracted me to them. Um, and they were all great. And I thought, wow, how in the world am I going to decide this? Again, I was just, 17 years old, very naive. So I went into my high school counselor and I said, hey, I went to all these different colleges. They're all great. This one does this, that one does that, and man, I'm confused. I'm excited. I'm not sure what to choose. Um, so I asked him. I went to my high school counselor and I says, "What do you think?" And here his response was, "Don't even bother." And I thought, what? I thought to myself, did I hear right? Don't even bother. Uh, this is three of the six words I said earlier that changed my life. Don't even bother. I couldn't believe that. Uh, I was shell shocked. You know, I'll be honest. In high school, I love cars, sports, and girls. I'll admit it. But on the flip side, I got good grades. I didn't get in any trouble. Um, I, I was happy with things, and but yeah, that was devastating to me. Don't even bother. And I'll confess, to this day, those words still haunt me a little bit. But fortunately, I didn't let it destroy me. Um, I never I never mentioned to my family, my parents, that conversation. I think that would have probably destroyed them, but that was hard to take. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Uh, but I just wanted to share that with you. That yeah, those were three of the six words that dramatically changed my life, and I'll talk to you about how that moved forward. But anyway, so that was some big adversity. I thought, wow, I never saw that coming, and that was. I'll be honest, it took me probably a couple years to halfway shake it off. Um, but I did try to learn from that and use it, and I'll talk about that. The first tip for adversity, get rid of the excuses. Don't try to blame others. Don't try to be in denial. I guess, pull up your pants and move on with life is what I'm saying. Change your focus. Again, this could have really set me back if I'd went negative. Um, but I tried to use many, strategies to move forward. I did go ahead and enroll in college, and mindful of what that counselor said, and I think that motivated me uh, to get better grades, and I did, and for the good of the cause. Another big tip, some people like doing journals. If that's in your nature, feel free to do that. I was never big with this one, but if writing down your thoughts and feelings is important, it can provide very, very good benefits. And block out the negativity uh, when you're trying to overcome adversity. Um, and be mindful of the people that you're around, and how their opinions can be either helpful or very destructive, is very important. Celebrate accomplishments, whether they be short term or big ones. Each time as I started college, when I got grades, I celebrated, and I thought about those three words: don't even bother. Um, when the A's came my direction, um, I took it upon myself to, hey, I'm going to recognize this for some hard work. And so hopefully you can relate that to whatever you may be coming involved with adversity in your life. And as we talked about, the practice of self-care, taking care of your physical and mental well-beings, is very important, especially the mental health aspect, uh, as many of us are overloaded in life. So hopefully you can take those and apply those to your life. Um, I want to talk to you about the other part that hopefully you can relate to. So I want to share with you, when about 7 years ago, I was approaching that magical 60th birthday. I'm going to date myself, and I'll confess. But yeah, I was about 7 years ago. I was okay. I'm about ready to turn 60. Things are going great. I've got I've got a good career. I've got a great team I'm working with. Things at home are great. My family as well. I love and cherish them dearly. Um, my faith is in a good place. Um, Thankfully, my finances are in decent shape, and things are going good. And I thought, I'm probably gonna I'm loving what I'm doing, so maybe I'll continue to work till I'm 70. That was my mindset at that time. But then unexpectedly, I came down with what seemed like another case of bronchitis. I had trouble with that early on in my life, and it seemed like it hit me again when I was 60. But this time I could never get over it. I went to a variety of doctors, went through a lot of prescriptions, and did all kinds of things. I just could never get over the hump. So finally, I was convinced, okay, it's time to go into the hospital and get some serious testing done. And I thought, well, this has been going on far too long. I totally agree with that. So went in the hospital. It was extreme tests after tests, and um, uh, I thought, wow, where is this all going to go? And turns out there's the next three words that impacted my life. You have cancer. Never saw that coming. Um, it was, other than I had no prior symptoms, not much in my family history. It was just completely out of the blue. And so naturally, like anyone, I demanded retests be done, which they did. And yes, it was confirmed. And so I thought naively, right out of the gate, I thought, okay, well, give me some pills. I'll move on with life. I've got more living to do. Let's get at it. But didn't turn out that way. Turns out that, okay, I had one surgery that we thought, well, okay, maybe that's behind us now. But my next scan said, nope, cancer's back. So we go through it again, another surgery. Um, we thought, okay, we got it all. Nope, it came back. This time, then we started chemo, and I thought, okay, this is not going down the path I want. Um, and we did chemo for a while, and new scans showed that's not necessarily working. Now we need to do more chemo, and we need to do more radiation. So it started getting hot and heavy, um, and so we continued that for a number of years. But then 3 years ago, in 2000, in 2021, it culminated into what I call the mother of all surgeries. It was kind of the last resort. Uh, I went in for what was anticipated an 8-hour surgery, doing probably, as I think back on it, they wanted to do like 10 or 12 different things to me in that surgery. I won't go into any details, but they estimated 8 hours procedure. It took them 11 and a half hours. And yeah, I thought, wow, this is, uh, will I survive this? And I did. The recovery, I'll confess, was extremely unpleasant, but I did get through it. And when I came to, one of the very first things I asked was, okay, I made it through the surgery. Um, how much time do I have then? And they thought, okay, statistically, they estimated statistically I would live 2 more years, and I've now made it to 3. So, uh, That's the upside. Um, my medical teams tells me I've cheated death twice. Um, they say a cat has 9 lives. We'll see how many I have. But it was, it's been an extreme process. It's still ongoing. Uh, it is terminal. They tell me that uh, chemo is indefinite. The only time it would stop is if I tell them I've had enough. Um, and so we move forward with that. Uh, I've had, I'll confess, I've lost the exact count, but I've had over now 120 chemo infusions in my lifetime. It's a miracle that I don't glow at night. Um, and I'm headed here in a couple of weeks. I'm going to start another um, radiation regimen as well. So the upside is as long as they keep wanting to dump chemo in me and zapping me with radiation, uh, that gives me hope. It buys me time. Um, my short-term goal is I want to make it through another Christmas. So fingers crossed with that. Uh, and so I always like to ask groups, when you look at this picture, what do you think? And that is a picture of me on the right side there. It was taken a little while back when I had more hair than I do today. Uh, but when I look at that, I think about uh, I think about a couple different things. But that is my chemo chair. I've about worn it out. Um, but yeah, this was taken at Christmas time, and I look at that and think, how many people in the world get to have their picture taken with the Grinch? Um, I love that. Um, but yeah, it was a nice time, and I'm very fond of that picture because uh, prior to going in that morning, uh, I had a discussion with a good friend of mine that also was going through chemo. Uh, he wanted to give up. He said he's had enough. He didn't want to take it anymore, and it was a very tough decision. But I talked to him, and we had a great conversation. And he decided no, he would continue on, and I'm very thankful that he did. Um, and we're friends remaining today. But again, that's uh, you might look at that and think of a sad thing, but I look at it more as a positive in what became of that day for many reasons. So I want to talk about your mindset with all this said, and hopefully uh, the stories that I've shared and the tips I've shared are resonating with you. Again, especially when we go through those opening 2 questions of where are you with your career and where are you with your life? So your mindset does matter. Um, Understand that there is no life without change. There is no change without loss. There is no loss without pain. And there is no pain without suffering. Uh, those are those are cemented in our lives. They're going to happen, um, whether they be few or short, or many and significant. They will happen. And do we choose? Is the glass half full or is it half empty? Um, and at the bottom there, we cannot always avoid events that cause suffering. However, your mindset and actions can deal positively with suffering. Otherwise, it will erode your ability to enjoy life. Um, I always like to stress that with groups, particularly those that I talk to today that are that are going through either faith issues, health issues, or hospice groups. Um, and the same thing can actually be applied to your life and your career. When you have setbacks, how your mindset works and how you deal with that will be so important. Uh, will you blow up and make a fool of things, or will you, take some responsibility, don't blame others, and learn for the better? Last few things I'll highlight with you. I want to talk to you about this. How important is today the work-life balance? Fortunately in my career, you can see the pictures here on the left there, the fellow spending time with his family. On the right side, no, it's much more work career related, and not so much family. I'm happy to say in my career, I was on the left side most of it. Um, there was probably about a 2 year gap. Maybe I was on the right side here. Uh, and I quickly exited from that role thinking that um, I can't, I can't work, sleep, eat, and breathe my career 24/7. Uh, and so I always like to emphasize this: uh, be faithful to your work family balance in life, how important that is. Okay, uh, 8 steps for the impact for the better. I love going through these that'll help you succeed, not only in your career, but also in your life. First one is believe in your instincts. You know, the old phrase, my gut tells me so and so. Many times that is the right choice. There are no shortcuts, especially if you want big things or high priorities. There are no shortcuts. I mean, again, think back to Michael Jordan and how he had to devote his life to basketball. There are no shortcuts. Be consistent. That's important not only in your career but also in your life. That way, people can better communicate and live and work with you. And don't be one that one day you might fly off the handle and next day you're totally calm. Be a consistent person. Learn to say goodbye to things, whether that be unfinished tasks, unrealistic goals. Sometimes it can be even more rougher. Maybe you need to say goodbye to a particular friend or even a family member if things are to that extreme. But sometimes we do need to get rid of heavy baggage in our life. Uh, your focus is so important. Um, don't lose sight of what's important to you. Stay focused and move forward. Planning is also important too, um, particularly in midstream in any event that you're trying to do or accomplish. Uh, you know, plan those out. What are the next steps? Uh, be mindful of maybe a recent setback that took you a step back, but how can I move forward with that? A daily routine is also important, and that'll help so much in moving forward and in helping your impact for a better future. Uh, whether it be sleep, whether it be meal routines. Some people are morning people. Some people are better off in the afternoon or evening. Whatever your daily routine may be. Okay, so I'm told you're a room of accountants. As you can see, I promised 8 steps. There's 7 right there. So you're probably wondering, okay, Tim, where's that 8th one? And here it is. I always like to put that out on a slide by itself. Uh, Life is short, live it. Love is rare, grab it. Anger is bad, let it go. Fear is a mind killer, face it. Memories are sweet, so cherish them. How important that is. Life is short, live it. I'll finish. I've been asked to write a book, and I haven't really gotten into that yet. Uh, but people have said to me, okay, if you don't have a book, maybe you would have a forward that you could share with us. So I did put this together, and hopefully you can resonate with that. And I'll leave you with this nugget. In careers and life, success often requires navigating through challenges and overcoming adversity. The ability to adapt to changing circumstances, learn from failures, and persevere in the face of obstacles is critical for achieving any successful career in life. I'm very faithful to those words, um, and and when I look back and sharing the last hour of my story with you, I think of those 6 words that have changed my life. In both those instances, I could have easily given up. In both cases, they could have destroyed me. Um, but I think these words resonated and got me to the point where I could move on and be well to myself. So hopefully you can do the same as well. And so I leave you with that nugget of information. So anyway, here's my email address. If I can help you or your group out in any way, uh, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to be in communication